Djole is an African rhythm played during times of celebration. The words I say are translated in English as, "The drummers are gathered for the celebration." Lai lai ko, korabe, 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 aye!
Thank you, Drummunity. And I'd just like to make an announcement for anyone coming up to the bema or the podium, please use our handrails for safety. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mtuaswa, this has been an incredible week for me. The pendulum swings have been from one end of sorrow to a wonderful end of joy. And I would like to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this installation, my brother. So I'm gonna sing the Black National Anthem, and I'd appreciate it if people could stand up. If you know the words, sing along. Except I have a piece of paper here, so I'll be okay. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with the steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from our gloomy past till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever on the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. So you know I couldn't be up here and not have a little special something for you. So while you're here with me, yes, sir. Benjie and I, we looked at something and we said we want to sing this for you. So
yo, sure.
okay, so I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. If I don't lift him up, If I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, I will fall down. So we're gonna lift our brother up. He is not heavy. We're gonna lift our brother up. He is not heavy. We're gonna lift our brother up. He is not heavy. If we don't lift him up, if we don't lift him up, if we don't lift him up, we will fall down.
As we continue our gathering, Reverend Anthony, beloved colleague, has asked me to offer a land acknowledgement and gratitude. I here in Sedona will offer a land acknowledgement for the indigenous peoples who have stewarded this land. And if you're joining us from home, I welcome you when the time comes to bring to mind or say aloud the indigenous people who steward the land you are on, if you know their names. We acknowledge with mourning that we gather on stolen land. In what many of us now call Sedona, Arizona, the displacement, genocide, and theft of land occurred in successive waves of colonization by Spain, Mexico, and the United States. This colonization is still happening. And we acknowledge with gratitude those indigenous peoples who have stewarded this land. The Hohokam, the ones who came before, who built intricate irrigation systems to steward and farm these lands for over 3,000 years. And also the Hopi, the Pueblo, the Yavapai, the Western Apache, and the other indigenous people who continued stewardship of this land for many, many generations afterwards, and who are still here today. These indigenous people model resilience through their maintenance of ancestral ways, while also engaging the present and shaping our future. We who are gathered here also acknowledge with humility that all of us have work to do, to learn and unlearn. From our indigenous ancestors, we can learn about how to tend for water in our desert. From our indigenous neighbors, we can learn about resilience, how to think, live, and act in ways that counteract and help us heal from colonialism's lies. May we learn together to live in ways that reflect our respect for the earth and all of creation.
This is a wonderful song in Zulu called Siyahamba from South Africa. And who knows this song? Yeah? Okay. Any of our singers in the program know this song already? Because you could come up here and sing it with me. But we're all going to sing it. I invite you to stand if you want to. We're going to be moving a little bit here. And I invite our drummers to drum along as well. Okay. Okay. Goes like this. Siyahamba ukan yen cuencos. Siyahamba ukan yen cuencos. Sing it with me. Siyahamba ukan yen cuencos. Siyahamba ukan yen cuencos. Siyahamba Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. Siyahamba, Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. 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 Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos, yang cuencos. Siyahamba, Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. We're marching in the light of the world. We are marching in the light of the world. We are marching in the light of the world. We are marching in the light of the world. We are marching in the light of the world, light of the world. We are marching, marching, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of the world, light of the world. We are marching, yeah, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of the world, marching in the light of spirit. We are marching in the light of the spirit. We are marching in the light of the spirit. We are marching in the light of the spirit. We are marching in the light of the spirit. We are marching, marching, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of the spirit, the spirit. We are marching, marching, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of the spirit, in the light of love. We are marching in the light of love. We are marching in the light of love. Light of love, we are marching, marching, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of love. We are marching, marching, we are marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of love. Siyahamba, Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos, yang cuencos. Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos. Siyahamba, hamba, Siyahamba, oh Siyahamba, ukan yang cuencos.
Good afternoon. I'm Tanya Mayer, and I'm representing the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Board of Trustees. And on behalf of our board, I extend a warm welcome to the many clergy and friends of Reverend Anthony who came from well beyond our beautiful Sedona. We're so pleased that you're here. We welcome our Sedona friends and clergy as well. And we also welcome our congregation, our SUUF congregation. So welcome to Sedona and to this installation of our beloved Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson as our settled minister.
Hello. I bring to you the call to celebration, which means it's time to get this party started. I like that Anthony picked me to be the party girl today. So I brought to you, to start our celebration, a poem. It was just released this week from our colleague, Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto, just for you. And it's called Let Us Be Clear. Let us be clear that being a person is hard work sometimes. It's messy work. Let us be honest that some of the time making a mistake feels mortifying, as in from the Latin mort, death. But also, you are still here, surviving the chagrin, dusting yourself off, and trying again. And you are not the only one, which is one of the best things about the grace that surrounds you. If it were simple, the work might already be done by now. If it were easy, we might already have arrived, fulfilled at our destination. In this moment, invite your beating heart to rise, glowing and forgiven, to lead you forward, to share its fire and to show us the way. Let us be truthful. There are many worlds and many futures hanging in the balance, and they are worth our clear, attentive action. Let us be unfazed, full of courage, and awash in love, because those futures call us in, awaiting our right action and our powers of creation.
I would like to invite Natalie Garcia, who is Reverend Anthony's daughter, to light our chalice. Thank you, thank you. With the magnificent red rocks behind us, bearing witness to this earth and revealing us humans as one small part of the creation, we light our chalice for that spark of human light that yearns for justice. We lift up the urgings and faithfulness that brought Reverend Anthony Johnson to this place in this moment. We lift up the light within him that brings wisdom and that inspires other humans with a vision for the beloved community that might be, in all our differences, whole and beautiful. We lift up the light of the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism that urges us towards truths yet to be discovered, for mountains we will need to ascend in order to see. We light the chalice for a fulfillment of vision and an opening to new horizons. May the sparkling flame be a blessing on this day.
To all who have gathered this afternoon here in this room, where's the camera so I can say hi personally? Where's the camera? The camera is back there. I wanted to say hello to all of you joining us virtually. Good afternoon, y'all. I come all this way and you just give me that good afternoon, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. We are here to celebrate the installation of the Reverend Mtuaswa Anthony in Johnson. Amen? Amen. With you and the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. As you, Mtuaswa, and members and friends of the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship continue to engage in even deeper relationship together, Thank you all for inviting us to share in one of the most sacred of Unitarian Universalist rituals, an installation. May we continue to prepare our hearts and minds for this time as we lean into the theme of this installation, a deeper commitment to service and celebration. My name is Reverend Chris Long. I am humbled to be here where I serve the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge as the minister of congregational life. To Mtuaswa, his family and friends present, and his family in Mississippi and from all over the world, I wanted to thank you. I have known Mtuaswa since he stepped on the grounds of Star King School for the Ministry in Oakland, California in 2016. Up to this moment, my very life has been forever transformed by the bonds we share. It is my prayer that through this installation and his ministry here in this community, in the larger world, and that he and you will continue to do the same with all you encounter. One thing I know for sure in you all choosing each other for this phase of your journey together, you are opening up even more and will continue to engage the many forms of worship, sacred ancestral honoring and acknowledgement. We all are called to live with each and every day of our lives. We are all now invited into this moment of worship as we continue to prepare our hearts for what Mtuaswa and all of us are able to build upon the many ministries he brings to bear through his calling. For as we know, Mtuaswa works and continues to demonstrate a lifelong commitment to liberation and freedom for all. We have already acknowledged ancestors. I wanted to continue to open this most sacred of spaces by asking permission and forgiveness to those indigenous communities whose lands we sometimes borrow frivolously. I pray to open this space in our hearts even wider for our call to worship. I now invite us all to this sacred time through a collective call and response call to worship. Y'all ready for a call and response? I don't think y'all are ready for it. But having you repeat after me. We now enter this space of worship together. May it be so. Blessed be. Salam, salam, and ashe.
Good afternoon, everybody. If I suddenly lose my voice, know ahead of time that I have allergies to oil and smoke, unless it's hyperallergenic, and I might be able to make it without a problem. I'm far enough away from the candle. And greetings to my dear friend, Reverend Anthony Johnson. When I came to the city of Sedona 20 months ago, I was greeted by 2 clergy colleagues, and 2 only, except for the denominational officials in the United Church of Christ. Those colleagues are both present here today. Rabbi Alicia sent a note to me, and Reverend Anthony Johnson sent a note to me. When I checked my cell phone earlier this week, I noticed, Reverend Johnson, that most of your emails were, let's grab a bite to eat. So we were able to share so many times together. The well-known writer, Lewis Carroll, in his well-known book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, shares a scene in that book. I happen to know it's page 82, where Alice approaches the Cheshire Cat. And she asks, "Would you tell me, please, which way I should go?" The wise Cheshire Cat asked, "Well, it depends upon where you want to get to." And Alice, being lost, didn't much care where she got to. It had to be better than where she was. She responded, "Well, it doesn't much matter where." When Cheshire Cat said, "Then it doesn't really matter which way you go." The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship knows which way they want to go. And they have wisely called you, Reverend Anthony, to be their pastor. As their leader, I believe your experience with this congregation will be as your experience has been in these few months in my own life. One of my across the hill and around the corner neighbors in the state of Tennessee was Earl Lord. Earl Lord was about 7 feet, a few inches tall, the first Black person to play in the NBA. Earl Lord had a nickname, Moon Fixer, because he was so often up in the air, getting those balls to go through the ring rather than getting lost. Earl Lord, in his book entitled Moon Fixer, said something that he said to me personally. I asked, how did you manage in an environment where you were the only person of color? And he looked at me and paused for just a moment and said, "Reverend, I have fingerprints all over my body. And those fingerprints represent the many people who have touched my life over the years. I have fingerprints all over my body. Some of those fingerprints belong to you because of the wonderful colleague you have been to me, a UCC pastor." There's this little story, I wasn't going to tell it, but if I don't, if I don't tell it, someone else will. Knowing you has caused me to come up with a short list of things I'd like to do when I grow up. One day I called Reverend Anthony at about 4:00 in the afternoon. He answered his cell phone and said, "Hold just a moment, Marvin. I need to get to a quiet space." He walked over to another location and he and I spoke just briefly. And he said, "I'm at the home of one of our members. They're having a social gathering. And I want you to know the sounds I heard in that background sounded as if somebody was having happy hour at 4:00 in the afternoon. So when I grow up, I want to serve a congregation that has happy hour at 4:00 in the afternoon. And the other occurred early in the summer. I called to discuss something with Reverend Anthony, and he said, "Well, I'm going to be away for a few weeks." He said, "We're taking a hiatus, so we won't be gathering for worship for a few weeks." When he said that to me, there I was trying to figure out the sermon for the next 3 weeks because I was going to be working all summer. When I grow up, I would like to be called to a congregation that takes a hiatus in the middle of the summer. Thank you so much. God bless you.
That was great. This week, we read about Noah and the rainbow and the dove and the animals and the light in the darkness during 40 days of rain and no direction, no rudder, no motor, no sail. This is the week where we have faith that we will land somewhere on dry land and there will be a rainbow. And there will be a dove, and there will be a beautiful branch, an olive branch of peace. Oh, how I'm looking for that right now. So here you are, a congregation, a coming together of people of all different colors and backgrounds and tastes and spirits. Now, what I learned when I was becoming a rabbi was that it wasn't enough to go to school and to learn about the Bible and the history and the philosophy, and that was all very important. But I learned that when you become called to a congregation as you are, and not only called, not assigned, but settled. I love that word. Woo! Settled. In the pocket like that. So what I learned was that there is smicha milemala and smicha milemata. To translate from the Hebrew, there is inspiration and a covenant and an authority from above, and smicha milemata, a covenant and a calling and an authority given from below, and that's this one. So I'm going to call you so I can bless you with the ancient priestly blessing. And that I'm going to call down from above, but oh, my friends, all of you have to give your blessing from below. And so Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson, please come up here in a place of holiness and face me. And I'm going to place my hands on your head with your permission. And I'm going to ask you all to take that energy in your heart and that love and that covenant and that authority that you are pouring out to this beloved, magnificent, funny, sweet man as your leader, and place your arms as an extension of your energy toward him. And at the end of this blessing, I'm going to ask you please not to clap. It's too sacred a moment. Let me see your hands coming forward. Do you feel it? Take a look. Just take a look. See that? Okay. Now take it in. This is your moment for receiving, okay? Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God watch over you and bless you and protect you. May God shine God's countenance upon you and be gracious to you. And may God give you the greatest gift of all, which is wholeness, peace, shalom. Amen. I'm shaking.
I'd like to extend to everyone the greetings of peace, the peace that only the Creator can give. And that's what I want to extend to you. And I think some of y'all think y'all know Anthony. Praise God. I've been knowing him for 72 years. That's my big brother, you know. And I thank the Creator for having someone special like that to be my big brother. But I had to learn quickly that you can't follow a person. You know, Anthony, he's a smart person, and he knew how to get out of trouble. Some of us that followed him, we weren't smart enough to get out of trouble. But praise God, I was smart enough to say, Anthony, you go ahead, go. You know, but I want to take this opportunity to praise God, God. And as a Muslim, we say Allah, right? And sometimes people may say, oh, you worship that Allah God, you know. But if you go to the Middle East and there's a Christian there, they call on Allah, you know. So we have to get beyond prejudices. And we have to learn that God is not a prejudiced entity. God is one. And that's why I'm very happy to be in an environment like this, that Unitarianism, I just love it. That means that one God, yes, but one humanity, yes. Yeah, that means that no black person is better than a white person, am I right? There's no yellow person better than a brown person. Oh, come on, y'all can give me a witness. Oh, praise God. Yeah. And there's no Muslim better than a Jew. There's no Christian better than a Buddhist, because those are only labels. The better one is the one who is obedient to the words of God and shows that respect and honor through his service to each other. We're living in a time now, the good Rabbi mentioned peace, and that's what we need. Peace is what we need. So when I came up and extended to you the greetings of peace that only God can give, and if this place was full of Muslims, I'd say assalamu alaikum, right? Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, God's peace be upon you, that only he can give. And you know, I brought a couple of notes here, but I'm like, nope. I just like to say I'm honored, praise God, I'm just honored to be here by his grace, to be at such a wonderful occasion, to witness a miracle. I'm here to tell y'all, I'm witnessing a miracle. And it's so good to me because I have watched this man. He's a genius, you know. Now to see that genius turn to y'all's service is just a wonderful thing. And I'm going to leave my notes, and I'm going to thank God, and I pray, Anthony, for that peace and blessings upon you and your family and upon this fellowship here. And not only on this fellowship here, but on the world, in Africa, in the Middle East. Oh, somebody say, yeah. Because when we have true peace in our hearts, really peace in our hearts, peace that only God can give, and peace that nobody else can take away, then we won't do things that are disastrous. We won't do things. We have to always work for peace, and we'll have peace in this world. God's blessings be upon all of you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
You got me with the water in my eyes, Uncle. And everybody. Hi, Daddy. Oh, what a blessing. When I studied the Vedic scriptures, they talk about how if you're really lucky after numerous incarnations, you might get super blessed and get born into a meditating family. Yes. So they named me Karma. They named me Karma, and then the second name is Mayet, which is Ma'at, who's the goddess who has that scale where your soul's supposed to be lighter than her ostrich feather when you go to your next life. So they kind of put it on me where I didn't really have much. Like, what was I gonna do, right? So. Uncle's the imam, daddy's the rev. What I'm gonna do? Want to give a special shout out to the heavenly presence of my pawpaw, your father, Abdul Hakim Sharif, who I know is blessing us in this moment. Is it all right with y'all if I sing a little song? Yes. So it starts off like a little whisper in your heart and then it gets big. So I think I'm gonna ask y'all to sing a little bit at some point. So be listening out for your part. I know you're gonna know what it is, okay? I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna sing before I sing it. And so say it back to me. So, ain't no such thing as a secret. Ain't no such thing as a secret. Ain't nobody out here alone. Ain't nobody out here alone. Freedom and forgiveness. Freedom and forgiveness. Sweet Redeemer. Sweet Redeemer. We all got to find our way home. We all got to find our way home. Ain't no such thing as a secret. Ain't nobody out here alone. Freedom and forgiveness, sweet Redeemer. We all got to find our way home. And I hear you calling. I hear you calling. I hear you calling. I come running soon. I come running soon. I come running soon. I see you rocking. Just like the river to the sea, I come running soon. That's your part. Born in a blood memory. Y'all come running. I come running soon. Just like the wind become the rain, I come running soon. Just like the water knows your name, I come running soon. I come running soon. I come running soon. I'm gonna go through the loop one more time, okay? I like your rock. Ain't no such thing as a secret. Ain't nobody out here alone. Freedom and forgiveness, sweet Redeemer. We all got to find our way home. Y'all can sing this part. I hear you calling. Yes. I hear you calling. I hear you calling. I come running soon. I come running soon. Just like the river to the sea, I come running soon. Born in the blood memory, I come running soon. Just like the wind become the rain, I come running soon. Just like the water knows your name, I come running soon. 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 I come running soon.
Woo-wee. Wow. This room, these spaces, what a blessing to be here. I thank you for this invitation. I begin by bringing greetings on behalf of our students and faculty and staff at Star King School for the Ministry in Oakland, California, where I have the honor of serving as president. It is a special blessing to be here because Star King is Reverend Anthony's alma mater. And it is even more special that the two of us share the common gift of having grown up on the south side of Chicago. Right. So there are many blessings attendant to this occasion, and I'm so honored to be here. I want to begin my reflections this afternoon with part of a poem by Rainer Maria Rilke entitled Lament. Part of it says this, and there are several translations, but this is one I love. How far from us everything is, and long gone. I think the star whose light reaches me now has been dead for thousands of years. I think I heard in a boat that went by something anxious being said. In a house, a clock has struck the hour. In which house? I would like to go out from my heart and stand under the great sky. I would like to pray. One of those stars must surely still live. I think I used to know which star may have kept on shining, which one rises still at the end of its light. So I'm a night owl, and though I try to sleep when regular folks do, it doesn't always go well for me, so I read instead. All kinds of things. Blogs about knitting, trashy Regency romances in which the penniless vicar's daughter must marry an arrogant duke to save the family from ruin. Y'all know those books. Medical detective stories, where they've got all these symptoms, but nobody can figure out what that is. And old Unitarian and Universalist books and newspapers. Now that's a mistake for me to go there, because the purpose of reading the other things that I'm reading is so that I can go to sleep. But nothing is better to keep me awake than reading the records of our religious past. More than 100 years of preaching and scolding, challenging and eviscerating and evangelizing. You can thank Google Books because they have scanned a treasure trove of religious materials of ours, probably the most thorough collection outside of a theological library. I thank them, because how else could I keep myself entertained with editions of a magazine called The Unitarian, or better yet, the magazine called Unity, this elegant, fiery monthly publication out of 19th century Chicago. Edited by Jenkin Lloyd-Jones and Jabez Sunderland. These were two of the driving forces behind the Western Unitarian Conference, which sought to move our faith further afield from the confines of Boston and spread it out into the rest of the country. So the articles and the editorials are a history lover's delight. Reports from ministers in the field, little side notes from people being cranky about Universalists, because remember, we were two then, and cures for dread disorders. These things have stolen my slumber on many a night as I scan articles for familiar names and familiar stories and things that may uplift me. My favorite one so far came from a dispatch in Unity in September of 1888. And it was passed on by a correspondent to the Christian Register, which was our traditional publication in the East. So it seems that in a college town of about 16,000, they had about 500 students, there was a graduating class of 10. They had 2 disciples of Christ, 2 atheists, 1 Presbyterian, 3 Methodists, 1 agnostic, and 1 who couldn't decide what they believed. And the group was furnished with 3 months of Unitarian literature, courtesy of what was then known as the Post Office Mission. At the end of that time, one of the disciples, the agnostic, both atheists, the Presbyterian, and the undecided all embraced Unitarianism. And one of them heard a call to the Unitarian ministry. The report concluded, scores of people would not only be Unitarian if they understood the broad and uplifting principles of our faith, and many more are Unitarians without knowing it. We cannot liberally distribute too much of our literature, as will help the undecided to place themselves on the sound basis of an active liberal faith. The Unitarians of that time, like the Universalists of this time, were liberal Christians in dialogue and in community with other less liberal families of faith, but they were also rebels and cheerful, tireless evangelists for what they called the Unitarian movement. I love them. I love reading about them because they loved our faith and they never stopped believing in its power, and they moved heaven and earth to spread the news. They wrote tracts and they mailed them. They wrote books and they sent people out into the West to deliver them. They took themselves out into the world after the workers, the laborers, the immigrants. They took literally the book of Matthew, the part in chapter 13 where it talks about our field is the world. And the seeds of faith that they sowed still live and flourish to this day, including the evolution of that post office mission that I talked to you about. We now know it as the Church of the Larger Fellowship. That is how it began. In these days, we UUs are much more willing, I think, to give people some privacy, some distance. We tend to leave people with their insecurities and their doubts. We don't want to pressure anybody into making a decision about something as important, as personal as religious belief. And we know what that feels like. We live in a world of fast-talking salespeople, relentless commerce. We don't want to intrude. We don't want to get in anybody's way. But what if we step back too far? What if we have learned to give people so much space that we're too far away to hear them crying out for something bigger, something more than the pat answers to big questions that they get somewhere else? What if they are lamenting the way Rilke is lamenting. If we're standing back too far, we can't hear them saying to themselves, I think the star whose light reaches me now has been dead for 1,000 years. I think I heard something in that boat, something anxious being said. I want to go out from my heart and stand under the great sky. One of those stars must surely live. Rilke only mentioned a few things, a few questions, but the world is wide and there's so many things to wonder about, and there are too many people who are wondering about them alone, with nobody to talk to, no one to think with, no one to go walking with beneath the enormous sky. Worse still, those who wander and seek are encountering bad company. Fearmongers, the power mad who really can't help them and mean them no good at all. Think about the threats we face right now in this country. We are struggling with massive economic and social inequalities, a hallmark of white supremacy culture. We know it is. Humanity is threatened, all of humanity, not just here in the country, but they're threatened by the erosion of democratic ideals. People around the world are giving up on the idea of choosing for themselves what kind of government they want. Depending on who's in the legislature, they're being forced to give up the idea of choosing who they want. Meanwhile, everybody who is vested in destroying this democratic life are busy gaslighting the rest of us. They bombard us with screeds about how government fails. They talk about the uselessness of voting when they are the people who made it useless. That's right. They talk about the sameness of the political parties and how one person is just as good as the other. And they suck us into this endless cycle of apathy that turns claims like that into prophecy. And on top of all of that, humanity is threatened by a climate crisis that make our other struggles possibly moot. All those skeptics who glossed over decades of warnings are now being confronted with the seasonal reality that scientists have never seen before. Tornadoes in communities that have never seen them before. Mountainous regions in snow almost too deep to measure. And in California, where I live, wild swings of weather between wildfires and year-long droughts, and then atmospheric rivers that bring foot after foot after foot of rain. It's a frightening time, but we are the people who have hope in our back pockets. Yes. We are privileged to be part of a liberal faith that has extraordinary gifts and an extraordinary legacy. We have been given the gift of freedom to think about what matters to us, to believe or not to believe, or to change our minds. We have been given the gift of reason to consider what we know of life and to compare it to timeless wisdom of many people from many places. We have been given an example of courage in the service of humanity and a love that encompasses all of life. These are treasures, but they're not ours to keep. They enrich us, each and every one of us, but only if we give it away. Only if we give it away again and again to all those wanderers in search of the biggest questions. Each one of you carries that heritage with you as you and Reverend Anthony work together, worship together, mourn and rejoice together. Your collective voice, your holy partnership, the partnership you honor and celebrate this afternoon, is descended from the same commitments that Jenkins Lloyd Jones made, that Fannie Barrier Williams made, that Celia Parker Woolley made, and the dozens and hundreds and thousands of other people who made Unitarian Universalism possible. Surely of all the stars that perished long ago, one still exists, Rilke wrote. Rilke was wrong. There are so many more. Yes. So many more than just one star. We are still here. We are still shining, still glittering as best we can amidst our own cares and our own weariness, hoping to strengthen someone else out there longing to step out of their hearts. Words of comfort, words of courage, no less vital, no less urgent, no less real, are available to you because you are still here and you are still shining. May you continue to shine together for many years to come. Congratulations to you. Ashe, blessed be, and amen.
We would now like you to bring your attention to our TV screen for our invitation to generosity with Reverend Sarah Millspow.
Friends, I share in your joy at the call and installation of the Reverend Anthony Johnson at Sedona UU Fellowship. As your primary contact on UUA regional staff, I have delighted in the synergy and the vibrancy you have created together already. This is the time in the service when we help that synergy and that vibrancy radiate outward in the form of our financial generosity. Generosity that puts our Unitarian Universalist faith into action for a better world. Today's offering will be split evenly between two very worthy funds. I invite you to give to the first fund in gratitude for the professional ministry that you've enjoyed from Reverend Anthony and his predecessors. The Living Tradition Fund is there to support ministers in being present to Unitarian Universalists. Ministry, as you may know, is not the most lucrative field income-wise. Yet getting the Master of Divinity degree and doing the low-paying internships that are necessary for ordination do cost a great deal. Your gift to the Living Tradition Fund helps in three ways. It empowers need-based scholarships for theological students who have completed a full year of theological education. It empowers new minister assistants to reduce the burden of high educational debt and repayment. And it empowers emergency assistance grants to seminaries, ministers, religious professionals, other congregational staff, retired ministers, and their loved ones. I myself have been the recipient of the Living Tradition Fund's assistance, and it has truly made a difference for our family in a time of need. The other half of your gifts today will fund the UU Justice Ministry of Arizona, UUJAZ, an organization that truly makes a difference every day. The mission of UUJAZ is to engage Arizona Unitarian Universalists in justice making through strengthening congregational social justice ministries, connecting UU activists and congregations across the state, partnering with like-minded justice organizations, and empowering Unitarian Universalists to work for socially just public policy. In this time, when our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and our seventh, respect for the interdependent web, when those principles seem more and more radical, when we need to hold them tight and remember them and put them close to our hearts, I invite us to dig as deep as we can and be as generous as we can to support UUJAZ's vision for a more just, more loving, more equitable society, and to support our faith through generosity to the Fund for a Living Tradition. You, Reverend Anthony, and you, Sedona UU Fellowship, you are blessings to each other. Let us celebrate those blessings with our kind generosity, and let those blessings radiate out into the wider Unitarian Universalism and into the world. May it be so. Amen.
Sounds and echoing in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest drown me roars? I know the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the crowd grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths. Since first I learned to love it, the peace of truth makes fresh my heart, a fountain ever springing, with freedom's vision in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
The time has come in our free churches and fellowships. The relationship we're about to recognize rests wholly with the people of this fellowship and the minister that we have chosen and who has chosen us.
We come to this place of covenant knowing each other well and having shared in the ministry of this community for about 2 years. On May 22nd, 2023, the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship freely voted with the 100% agreement to call Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson to be our minister, and he freely and joyously accepted that call to our continued shared ministry.
Will the members of the SUUF congregation please stand in body or at least in spirit and join me in these words of covenant. So read with me. Anthony, we have called you to continue to live among us, to make our concerns your concerns, and to walk together with us in community, never shying from conflict or joy. Will you continue to lead us, love us, and guide us as we serve and grow together in the shared ministry of this congregation?
I will. We come to you with our hopes and our fears, our joy and our pain. Will you continue to listen to us, challenge us, have those difficult conversations, and dare us to grow into that dream of beloved community?
I will.
Okay, read with me, please. Will you lead us in service of our mission to be a nurturing fellowship that celebrates diversity, promotes justice, and serves our community and our world, ever striving to create a more loving world for all?
100. I will. I will.
Together, may we all enjoy many more years together doing the work of creating beloved community. Yay!
I have some words from Reverend Glenn Farley, who was our minister for 8 years before we hired Anthony. And so this came via email. Dear Sedona UU Fellowship, I don't know why I'm tearing up. As the longest serving minister in your history, I send hearty congratulations on the installation of your first called minister. In this, your 30th year of existence, I have delighted from afar with updates of your growth, your impact, your service to wider community. May this sacred commitment, formally calling a minister, strengthen you, embolden you, and bless you. May you continue to grow in depth and breadth. May the Verde Valley be blessed by the power and promise of Sedona UU Fellowship. From the Reverend Glenn C. Farley, SUUF minister from 2012 to 2020, now at Misawa Air Base in Japan.
So I just want to extend my greetings to my brother Glenn, and I just sidebar, he's also a graduate of Star King.
Okay, so people coming forward here.
I'm a little choked up, actually. So, first of all, Anthony, Mtuaswa Johnson, our Sedona Unitarian Fellowship is honored that you are finally our settled minister. Yes, yes, yes. You're an amazing man. Get close to the microphone. Oh, okay, sorry, did you hear me? I can't reproduce the crying again. Some time ago, a small group of us met to create a gift for Anthony to commemorate this special day. We joined together with the overriding hope that we could honor your journey to us and in your own heart with this gift. Present that day was Tanya Mayer, Lydia Johnson, Pat Loomis, Ray Stanky, and me, Chris Bine. So as we sat down together, we knew we wanted to honor the journey of this man because he had so many things that he was committed to, but he chose to become a minister in the Unitarian faith. And that's a big journey. So we wanted to honor that journey. And as we talked about how can we honor this, we decided we could make a stole for him, which he wears. But the stole we could purchase, certainly, on the Unitarian Universalist. Bookstore, right. But we didn't want to do that. We wanted to honor his journey. And as we talked, Lydia, who knows Anthony very well, she began to speak about Melodoma Somé, who was a mentor of Anthony's. And as she talked, it became so evident that it was such a heartfelt mentorship that the hairs on my arm started to stand up with how much she talked about Melodoma Somé and what a beautiful man he was. And so then we had our thrust for the stole. And so you can see here Melodoma Some's logo. And he also was a big proponent of people to people reaching out and touching each other. And you can see these figures that are winding through the stole in the sacred dance of life, touching each other and sharing the light of this existence we call the dance of life. And then, after Anthony became a minister, he chose the logo of the Unitarian Universalist congregation, and also the light from that philosophy to encircle the world. And then he joined the Sedona Unitarian Fellowship. You can see the rainbow, and you can see the mountains, and the honoring of the ancestors that came before us on this beautiful land. At the top, you see these fingers, and these fingers are reaching out to the world, because the world many times is black. And so the Unitarian Universalist principles are so relevant right now in this world. And I hope when Anthony delivers his sermon, he will reach out to our larger community and let them know that there's a place for everyone here. Doesn't matter what color you are, because we can dance together. It doesn't matter who you love, but it matters only that you bring your heart and your soul here and communicate with us so that we can share our light with you and you can share yours with us. So Anthony, I hope when you wear this stole that took us many months to create, and interestingly enough, throughout the process, we all became stole sisters. Yeah. Because, sometimes when you get a group together, even though we all have the same goal in mind to create something beautiful for Anthony, sometimes there's, things that happen, right? But it didn't happen this time. We all collaborated so beautifully. And when there were changes and things that needed to be tweaked a little bit, it was okay, because we were stole sisters. Now, I'd like you to flip over the stole. It's a little surprise, because the stole is flexible. You can wear it one way, or you could wear it this way. And the beautiful thing about this side, Pat Lewis bought this wonderful fabric for us. There's darkness and light, because, as you know, life is sometimes fantastic and sometimes it wrings our hearts out. So this shows the progression of light to darkness. And so when Anthony is giving maybe a sermon that's quiet, well, he might want to wear this. He might want to wear this side. And also, I'd like to read the inscription at the top. I can't remember it, so I wrote it down. It says, presented to the Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson. Did I say that right? Okay. Mtuaswa Johnson on October 21st, 2023, from the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Sedona, Arizona. You are blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, look at that. Thank you, Pat. Thank y'all so much. You Chris woman. My time. That's our time. Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
And what do you know? It fits.
I should wear it. I should wear it big time.
Wear it in health and joy, Anthony.
Look at y'all. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
So this is a poem written by one of our fellow congregates, Joyce Resick, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here. And so she asked that I share this with all of you. And it's entitled Ghost Light. He appeared suddenly like the answer to a prayer, if indeed we did pray. Yet his arrival was not an answer, but the sacred beginning of deep soul searching and loving interrogation. He entered our lives so seamlessly, without hesitation or fanfare. He just slipped into our unconsciousness like a well-worn memory that never outlasts its welcome. And we have found that where he stands is home. Oh boy. Where he ventures is ours to explore. What he believes is just a guide to the acceptance of our very own. Here is a shepherd who also is a lamb. Here is a teacher who prides himself on constant learning. Here is a listener who speaks volumes aloud and in silence. Here is a gatherer of cultures, traditions, and eternities who place everything in the moment and makes it anew. Here is a man who has walked many paths, but always reaches the same summit, no matter the obstacles, companions, or forks in the road. He is the truest believer in humanity, all humanity. He who slipped quietly into our hearts, planted the seeds of knowledge and fulfillment, and remains at the ready to draw us in just a little closer for the harvest. He is the Reverend, and he is the collector of souls, a guide for the lost, and that unwavering ghost light in the theater of life. By Joyce Resick.
Thank you, Joyce. Joyce, bless her soul, couldn't make it. Well, I guess I better do what I do then. No sermon. There will be no sermon. We had our sermon already. No teaching today, no teaching, no preaching. But I am reaching. I'm reaching to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Giving thanks to the ancestors, as I always say, on whose shoulders I stand. Son of Ruth and Abdul, grandson of Sam and Ida, that would be me. I am radiating gratitude radiating gratitude in all directions. I need to say it early and often. Thank you, thank you. And thank you, my beloved, out loud and on purpose. And all of you volunteers who made this happen. Can we please give it up? Volunteers who made this happen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big thanks to my SUUF family. Because I'm falling, dreaming, facing, boning. I'm falling free form, shaped like a snowflake, floating like a dream. See, I'm dreaming of a place with no race. Hard open eyes, but there is no face. Facing a wall of red stone, climbing on top of ancestor bone. Bone, 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 boning up on Babel. That Babel masquerading as truth. So full of contempt. I'm just a sinner in winter. You too. Nobody's exempt. So it feels so good to be here in a place where we don't ask what you believe or who you worship. What's more other? Oh, the big one. Or expect you to think the way we do. But only that you try to live a kind and a helpful life with the dignity proper to that of how about a human being? So a place where I can see my Jewish sister next to my Muslim brother. There's my agnostic cousin, my atheist nephew, next to my pagan and earth-centered self. Continuing a long line of heretics and free thinkers. I'm a heretic and I'm proud. You see, this for us UUs is what it's all about. The inherent dignity of everybody. 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 You see, that's what we mean when we say, otherwise it don't mean a thing. I say it don't mean a thing. One more time, it don't mean a thing. That's what I'm talking about. So I got a song I want to sing to all y'all, and y'all know I don't sing, but I'm going to sing this one. My message to y'all, each and every one of you. Benjie, yes, sir. You're lovely, awesome, and perfect. You're beautiful, and just the way you are. You're lovely, awesome, and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. With me, y'all. You're lovely, awesome, and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. Again, please. You're lovely, awesome, and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. One last time. You're lovely, awesome, and perfect. You're beautiful, yeah, you, just the way you are, just the way you are. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all.
Oh, beloveds, what an amazing day. I am the Reverend Christine Dance. I use she and her pronouns, and I have the great honor of serving as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. It is on the occupied land of the O'odham and the Pima peoples. Now, Sedona, we know he's yours. He was ours first. So, how many people from Phoenix are here cheering on our beloved? Give a whoop, please. He's been gone a few years, but the love is so deep. He worked at our congregations before I got there, and when we realized we were going to be missing each other, we were like, oh, we could have done good trouble together. And yet we still are. We still are. And we got the opportunity to ordain him. And I am lucky to count him as a dear and beloved friend. I get to give the charge to your congregation, Sedona. Do you all know how lucky you are? Do you? Do you really? I think you really do. But if you didn't know, you're so lucky. You have one of our dearest treasures, someone who I call pure love. Anthony is pure love. You have one of my favorite people, and you are so smart to commit to this ministry. Now, I have heard installations compared to weddings before. You are making a covenant with each other, after all. There are some good and some problematic things with this comparison. It does fit in that you've already been living together, yeah. You've tried each other on, you've seen if you have any habits that annoy each other, you've figured out the rhythm of your relationship, right? But now you are deciding to ritualize this commitment together. You are making it deeper and more rich. That the day-to-day together is going to feel the same, and yet it's going to be different because you have made this covenant together. But here's where it's not like a marriage. So Reverend Anthony is one person. You are many. He's not marrying all of you. He is marrying you collectively. He is marrying you as your congregation. He is not marrying, let's take this out. He is committing to your mission, to your well-being as a congregation. That means that sometimes you might not like what he does, and you have to trust that he's doing the best for the congregation. And also, this metaphor doesn't work because Reverend Anthony is already married. Lydia is his top priority. His own growth is his top priority. If he's doing it right, you all should come after that. All right? My charge to you is to recognize that Reverend Anthony Mtuaswa Johnson is a whole person beyond being your minister. Please recognizing that when he is managing his time, his energy, and his relationships. Give him that time, knowing that it is not only useful to him to be whole, it is critical. You also know another thing. Reverend Anthony is a proud Black minister. He is one of the many brilliant ministers of color who are working within our primarily white denomination to help change us, to help us grow, to become more inclusive, more whole, more loving, and combating white supremacy culture. And we are all one. You said this. And yet the lived experience is different. Reverend Anthony has so much support around him through his colleagues of Black and Indigenous and ministers of color, so much support and love, and also colleagues, white colleagues like I, who are cheering you on every single minute and lifting you up as you do that work. But my charge to you, Sedona Unitarian Universalists, is never stop doing your own joyful anti-racism work yourselves. Do not check off that check mark because you have a Black minister. Don't do it. Don't do it. Pride is good. Accomplishment, no. Keep doing your work. Keep finding ways to have your own cohorts to be doing this work together. Be open and aware of micro and macro aggressions. Find ways to talk to each other about race and inclusion and love so that you can do your learning with each other, so that you can serve with him. Many of our Black ministers have had more challenging ministries because of their race. I'm counting on you, Sedona, not being one of those. Help us support our beloved. And I charge you, if you can love even a fraction of how much Anthony loves you, and you are contributing so much love, always land in love. Anthony, I love you. I am honored to support you. I will be cheering you on in this important ministry, and all of us in Phoenix will be cheering you on here in Sedona. May you all find a beautiful, kind, justice-seeking ministry, and may you all be blessed in this relationship together.
Good evening. I am Reverend Carlton E. Smith, and I serve as the lead for the Pacific Western region of the Unitarian Universalist Association, of which the Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is a part. I use he, him pronouns. I am with you from my current residence in Colorado Springs, Colorado, on the unceded land of the Nuchu and Ute peoples. By way of accessibility for those who might see differently, I am a brown-skinned Black man with very close cut hair who's been alive long enough to remember when rotary telephones were the norm. I'm wearing a Black robe and a stole made from an obi featuring purple, gold, and burgundy threads. My background today has a nearby red rock formation in the Garden of the Gods in the foreground and big blue sky in the background. I'm delighted that Reverend Anthony invited me to be part of this wonderful installation celebration with all you beloved colleagues, friends, family, and extended family in spirit. Thank you so much for inviting me, Rev, and hearty congratulations to you and Sedona Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Now, before I begin, I will say that I have had no communication with the Stoll sisters in preparing my remarks. That is, at least in the earthly realm, but apparently we were connected in the ancestral realm, and you will now hear why. I told you what the ancestors told me, Reverend Anthony. In thinking about what I would offer to you today in your call, in the charge to you, Reverend Anthony, I thought about your enduring connection to the late great teacher and healer, the beloved Malidoma Patrice May. You, like our late colleague and friend of blessed memory, UU Minister Reverend Yelbanzi Charles Johnson, were among those who regularly participated in his workshops and ritual events. I got to meet Malidoma on a few occasions through Yelbanzi, and I too was blessed by his humility and deep ancestral wisdom from his homeland of Burkina Faso, which he shared so generously with those of us in other parts of the world. He was indeed a bridge between cultures, and the world is better for that. Hear this quote from Malidoma's book, The Healing Wisdom of Africa, Finding Life Purpose Through Nature, Ritual, and Community. Ritual, community, and healing. These three are so intertwined in the indigenous world that to speak of one of them is to speak of them all. Ritual, communally designed, helps the individual remember his or her purpose, and such remembering brings healing both to the individual and the community. The community exists in part to safeguard the purpose of each person within it and to awaken the memory of that purpose by recognizing the unique gift each individual brings to this world. Healing comes when the individual remembers his or her or their identity, the purpose chosen in the world of ancestral wisdom, and reconnects with that world of spirit. Human beings long for connection, and our sense of usefulness derives from that feeling of connectedness. When we are connected to our own purpose, to the community around us, and to our spiritual wisdom, we are able to live and act with authentic effectiveness. Reverend Anthony, I'm going to keep this charge tight and right with these 3 points coming from Malidoma in one way and from me in another. Our first charge to you, remember your purpose. You came here with an intention, with an agreement about what you and Sedona UU Fellowship would accomplish together. Continue to return to that as you also return to your greater purpose, which includes your work here, but is also larger than that. Remember your purpose. Our second charge, Reverend Anthony, recognize the unique gifts you bring to the world. There will be plenty of opportunities to compare yourself to other wonderful colleagues. Some of them have spoken already this evening and what they are doing, but no one else can do what you do the way you alone can do it. No one else can say what you say with your voice. In the words of the vocal group Sweet Honey in the Rock, trust in your blessings and all will flow like sweet honey from heaven. Remember your purpose and recognize your gifts. Our third charge, good pastor, stay connected. By stay connected, I mean keep returning to your purpose. I mean tap into the strength of this community, your wonderful family and friends, the community of our colleagues and all the various other communities that can support and encourage you in your work. By stay connected, I mean call upon the ancestors, which I know you already do, and continue to let their wisdom guide you. Call upon Malidoma, on Yelbanzi, on Ibrahim Farajaje, on Marjorie Bowens Wheatley, on Fannie Lou Hamer, on Medgar Evers, on Ida B. Wells, on Bayard Rustin, on Patrice Lumumba, on Oscar Romero. Call upon all the wise and courageous ones who've gone before us in your time of need, and they will be nearby to help you. Malidoma also spoke of the power of quietness. He said, peace is letting go. This is why the tree, the stone, the river, and the mountain are quiet. Let's pause for 20 seconds of silence in recognition of that great force. I will keep the time. Remember your purpose. Recognize your unique gifts. Stay connected to purpose, community, ancestors, silence. And know that love surrounds you everywhere you may go. Amen, Amin, blessed be, and Ashe.
We have a special little song for our Anthony. Because you know it had to be you. Here's a little story. It had to be you. It had to be you. We wandered around and finally found somebody who could help us be true, could help us feel new, and even be glad just to be here, being a you. Some others we've seen might be more serene, might never be loud, shocking the crowd, but they wouldn't do. For nobody else gives us a thrill. With all your faults, we really love you still. It had to be you, Anthony, you. It had to be you. It had to be you. It had to be you. You make us complete. You're salty and sweet, a perfect fondue. You help us see more than ever before. With poetry fine, even sublime, you open new doors. Some others we've met might never forget, might not be so loose, but we have deduced that they wouldn't do. For nobody else gives us so much. You have it all, the Anthony touch. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
Reverend Marvin, they call it a benediction. But I'm gonna be short and sweet. But I'm thinking of Ricky B.B. She reminds us, she says, before there was a time, and before there was a number, spirit did prevail in a song of ecstasy. And before I had a dream or even a lesson to remember, spirit did prevail in a song of ecstasy. So my blessings upon each and every one of you. I'm lucky. Drummunity has invited me to join them on this last number. So we're gonna do a little drumming for you, and after which the door shall open and you can go feed your face. I love you. Soon come.
Please join us in the social hall after this short closing drum performance.
We are honored to have the newly installed Reverend Anthony.
Yes.
Join us.
Yes.
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Let's go for it.
Thank y'all.